on the SportsGrid network. Joe Raineri alongside Craig Mish. It is, as the once great broadcaster once told me, the calm before the storm. And that's exactly what we've got coming up here tonight. Plenty of Major League Baseball on tap. We are getting ready, T-minus, about maybe 14 hours here from North Carolina TCU to kick off to week 0 in college football. And we got a boatload of NFL action here today, final preseason games. And I got to tell you some interesting stories coming out here today, Craig, just from what we watched in the preseason games last night. And the big story that seems to be trending now is that Clint Kubiak has now said that don't be shocked if Aiden O'Connell is your number 2. And yeah, Mr. Mendoza would be number 3. And can I tell you something?
I saw that.
I'm all for it. I am all for it. No reason to put this kid and set him up to fail with that offensive line and a suspect running game to begin with. I think this is exactly why you went out and got Kirk Cousins, is it not?
Hey, Joe, great to be with you. We talked about this last week. I'm very happy with that decision for the Raiders. I think that we've seen, out of every 10 top quarterbacks we've seen probably half of them be busts. I mean, there's a Netflix documentary that's airing right now that I have queued up. I haven't watched it yet on Vince Young. Like, there's so many Vince Young stories and so few Trevor Lawrence stories, and even Trevor Lawrence himself has had his growing pains too. I think the reason why he's doing this is a smart reason, and it's to get the fans and everybody off Mendoza's back. It tells you right now that Mendoza's going to sit, and he's going to sit for a week or 2 or maybe 3. He's going to play the majority of the games, and he's going to start the majority of the game for the Raiders. But Joe has like another month or so to develop and prepare. I think it's a great decision, man. We need to go back to those days in the 2000s and the 90s with the quarterback position. Just because the guys are making so much money doesn't mean that it's not okay for them to sit 2 or 3 games at the start of the season. And because of the guaranteed money, Joe, of $50 million or $40 million, whatever it is, it seems like organizations are forced immediately to play the guy. You're still going to have him for years before he hits that mega contract. And I don't think 2 or 3 games makes any difference. So I am with you. Let Mendoza sit week 1. Let Mendoza sit week 2. Throw him in week 3. Okay, fine. That's a lot of development sitting back and watching the game from the clipboard. I totally agree with that. I don't think it's going to make the Raiders any better, but I am for that decision. Naturally, here in South Florida, Tua Tagovailoa is back tonight, Joe. That's the big story here. Yes. Where he looks like he's going to play tonight, and that's not normal for somebody that you're going to count on. And so the whispers have already begun that is it possible that, McCarthy's on the bubble here? Is it possible Tua's on the bubble here, Joe? I mean, there's an amount of guaranteed money that they don't have to pay if they cut him and just bring in Steve DeBerg, you know what I'm saying? like they may not need Tua. They may just say, Penix, go, bring in a backup, and let's go to war. It's possible, Joe. Freaky things happen on Sunday, so that's coming too. And then as I close out here and throw it back to you, naturally, I'm watching baseball tonight. Scooble's back in Detroit, so that's certainly interesting. I, of course, am watching the Marlins. As soon as I'm done with this, I pop on and I watch the Marlins for 3 hours. And then, Joe, as I turn it back to you, I end with this. Is tomorrow the beginning of the end for the Bill Belichick run in North Carolina? I think it is. I think 5-6 games into this season, it's over for him. I don't think he'll make it through the season. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he will end up back in the NFL as an assistant or even a coach. But I think if you're into Belichick in North Carolina, buckle up, folks. I think this is going to be a brutal year. And I think this experiment that they made is going to end quick. So that's my little open here, Joe, with you.
Well, a lot going on there. Let me save you the trip. Marlins are going to sweep the Nats here this weekend, so you don't even have to bother watching that. Yeah, they're going to do it again. There's no point. There are just some teams that are kryptonite to others, and the Marlins are that to the Nats here, especially like when Yuri Perez on the mound here tonight. Now, Yes, plenty of baseball, by the way. Dodgers are in the midst of a epic losing streak right now. It's the first time since 2013 that they've actually lost and get swept by the Braves here. But now that I don't know how easy this game is going to be tonight either, coming up in about 30 minutes here with in Detroit. They might have a little something to say about welcoming back their former teammate. And maybe one of the more entertaining games in a 1-0 spot that you'll watch, Greg, was last night. I watched that game, and that was a throwback, old-fashioned. If you would have just not watched any baseball year and came on and turned that game on last night, you'd have thought that was a playoff game. That had like October baseball written all over it. Baldwin gets, I think, one of the first 2 pitches he sees from Yamamoto. It's a home run. And then that was it. I mean, both guys just locked down 2 very good offenses. I'll take more of that if that's what's coming. That was real playoff baseball last night at the end of August. I'm all for that. To me, that was real baseball last night.
It was, and I think it was like the first game in 100 years that had a home run on the first batter of the game and then nothing the rest of the game. That usually doesn't happen. Yeah, so you're right there. And look, Chris Sale's son in the crowd cheering for him, and Sale said it was like the most impactful win he's had because of that, so that was super cool as well. Yes, that was absolutely a great game, and hopefully, look, there's a chance we may get that again in the postseason. These 2 teams could easily play for the National League Championship Series, Joe. We could get that showdown again between Sale and Yamamoto. So naturally, tonight it's a little different, obviously, with Skubal on the mound. Skubal's first 3 starts, I would say, were like just okay. And then, of course, he turned it up a lot in his last start. I think he struck out 11, if I'm not mistaken, against the Pirates. So he'll be emotional today coming back. The emotion got the best of him the first time out, as we saw when he put on that Dodger uniform. So I'm not sure really what to expect tonight, but that should be a fun game as well. The other big news in baseball today, Joe, it doesn't affect the game, but I don't know. They're going to be talking about it, I'm sure, in Tampa. And I wonder if it gives them a boost, finding out that the Rays got their ballpark. The Rays are going to get a new stadium in Tampa. It was voted through. That's it. There's no stopping block. There is nothing to prevent this from happening at this point. The city commission, the county commission, everybody pushed it through. So they'll play in St. Petersburg. I'm going to guess 2027, 2028. And then I think, they're going to try and get this thing ready for the 2029 season, a new stadium in Tampa. I mean, I don't Vegas, it's taken longer than that to build their stadium. So maybe a smaller stadium, Joe, I can imagine maybe in Tampa. That's probably why. But yeah, so I'm very excited for them and our friends here to the northwest of us. We get a new stadium, and I can't wait to see that play out too. Rays play the Padres tonight. And that's a really good pitching matchup again with McClanahan on the mound. I think Mize will oppose him tonight. Rays, I saw, as minus 130, if I'm not mistaken.
They have been forever trying to get a new stadium there for the Rays, but it looks like at this point everyone's chipping in to get it done. Opening day 2029, $2.4 billion is what they're going to look to spend on this. The chump change, right? I mean, think about what the Swamp is going to cost when they want to rebuild that football stadium there, Craig. I can only imagine that. But kudos. It kind of bummed out that it's leaving St. Pete because I thought it was just such a cool and unique spot there. But they just, people didn't want to deal with the bridges and have to go to the games. And, maybe
it was not the best.
Maybe now, it wasn't, but it was a great town. I mean, to go and just hang out for a week, go to a couple of games, it was really,
I went
really,
this year.
really cool.
I went to a couple of games. I mean, the ins and outs and the traffic patterns were great. The people who work there are great. It's a great atmosphere for a game. But, the park itself, Joe, I mean, you're talking about now, believe it or not, one of the oldest parks in Major League Baseball. And so they decided to put forward the money. I still think it's going to be an awesome new stadium, but certainly you can't expect the stuff in Vegas to be in Tampa.
Not going to be. Kudos to the Rays fan.
Welcome back. It's Game Time Decisions. Craig Mish, Joe Raineri here with you for the next hour or so. We got a short show here tonight because Joe's, so busy with all of his other shows that he's doing right now. He can't keep up.
A lot of things going on here, Mish. Got a lot of things going on.
He's very, very busy. Very, very busy. Very, very, very busy tonight.
Yep.
Why are we on only till 7 tonight? I'm not really sure about that. I know that they gave the guys 3 out. Oh,
that's right. The Jets are on here.
That's
tonight,
why we're not on. That's why we're off at 7.
Absolutely, yes, that is correct.
Listen,
yes,
I got a lot of faith in our leader. I got a lot of faith in our leader, Greg Sussman. This may be one of those where I have to do the Rock.
Yeah, I love it. Yes, huge Giants fan.
Look, let's be honest. We starting tomorrow start the football season. Let's also be honest. Nobody cares about the NFL preseason. Nobody. Baseball is far more compelling right now. Come on.
I beg to differ. Come on.
Nobody
we got
cares.
FCS. Towson's playing tonight against Marist. Don't act like you don't watch these things. You may have the Marlins on for a little while, but you'll be side-eyeing that. You'll be knee-deep in Georgetown versus Harvard or something along those lines. Listen, here's the deal. Football is here. It's back. I have a little bit of interest on what we're going to see here tonight. I told you I had a little bit of interest in that Browns-New England game. I thought we were going to get points, and guess what? We got points. The Browns might go down as the only team to have 3 quarterbacks better than the one that they named as a starter. Dylan Gabriel was fantastic last night.
I saw his numbers, yeah.
Great. Green is out. He will be on a team at some point, and hopefully it won't be the Browns. But Shador's going to get his chance. I've been taking bets all day, Craig. First 2 games on the road for the Browns. The 3rd game is home against Carolina. By the time they get home for that 3rd game, I can assure you Deshaun Watson will not be the starting quarterback of the Browns. That is my call. I've already bet their win total over 5.5.
Over? Wow.
That is a legit defense. That defense is legit. That front 7 is very good. You've got the defensive rookie of the year at linebacker on the other side. Don't forget, they've got Jared Verse back in return. They've got 2 number 1 picks on the outside there on the defensive front. They are going to be able to be competitive with teams if they can just put any sort of excitement, that kind of effort and energy we saw from Dylan Gabriel, any sort of life going on there offensively. I think they're going to be able to steal a couple of wins. 6 wins is not a lot, Craig, when you're thinking about it. For a team that has one of the easiest schedules because of how bad they were last year, their schedule is very easy. I mean, Titans and Jets and Saints. These are winnable games if they're just mediocre on offense. I mean, we're sitting here breaking down whether we think Minnesota still has. Why does Minnesota, the Twins, have a shot at the postseason? And here we are at the end of August. I don't think getting 6 wins if you have a stable some sort of stable offense. With that defense, I think the Browns are going to win more than 5 games here. And at 5.5, and I'm telling you, it's Shador or Dylan Gabriel by week 3.
Well, that's your only hope. And that's where I think something is off here. So you're going to have to explain this handicap to me, okay? So I agree with you that if anybody else was playing, they would be better. My son had, his fantasy draft, and it was like approaching the end. And I said, take Jacksonville's defense, and that's the team that's going to score a touchdown in week 1. So now we've seen wacky things happen in week 1. I don't know what the line is. I'm going to guess Jacksonville's got to be a touchdown favorite over Cleveland week 1, at least 6.5. I honestly have not looked at the first week lines. I'm going to guess 6.5, 7. Okay. Joe, why are they starting Watson? What is the purpose? I think the purpose is to tank. Well, why would they not start the other guys? You're right. They're much better. But if they don't do that, you're going to be staring at your ticket week 5, and they're going to be 1-4. And you're going to say, I don't understand. Why aren't they putting in these other guys who are better? And the answer is going to be because this is being done on purpose Just like the Dolphins are not telling you they're tanking, but you know that this is a rebuilding season for them. They have, no cap room whatsoever. They have the youngest team in the NFL. Arizona, with what they're doing right now, Joe, they have no purpose other than to maybe get a quarterback next year. There's nothing else. What's Cleveland's plan, Joe? What if their plan is to start Watson now? You really think that they're going to pull the plug after 2 weeks? I don't think so. I think they lose a lot with him. And I think this goes on. Now, he could get hurt or say, oh, my tummy, and that's the end of it. That I could see happening. But I think Watson starts a good number of games for Cleveland this season. I don't think it's 2 and out. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's all a setup. I think the sooner they put to bed the Deshaun Watson. No, seriously, I think the sooner they put the Deshaun Watson nightmare to bed. And this is really, to me, this is all about, okay, we gave him the money. The schedule sets up where we don't have to worry about our own fans devouring him and, thrashing our franchise at home in 2 games. We'll give him the first 2 games on the road to finally show once again that there is nothing left in this tank and there is no reason to move on. That game number 3, when they start 0-2 and 7.5, by the way, is the opening game against Jacksonville in Jacksonville. They'll be competitive in that game defensively. But I think Deshaun Watson's going to be an unmitigated disaster. And I think they'll force Todd Monken at home in game 3. Fans there'll be a mutiny in Cleveland if they start 0-2 and Deshaun Watson is still under center for game 3. There will be and I think they know exactly what they're going to get. And Monken's just going to go, listen, we gave it a shot. It's time to move on. And then you're going to get the fans behind you. And finally, they'll be able to take a step in the right direction. I think you can't let him hang out on the side, right, as a backup to Shador to start the season, because that's always going to hang over your head.
Couldn't they just cut him?
No, not from a money perspective. No.
Oh,
it would have been dead cap.
So what do they do? They put him on IR or something? I don't. How do they handle that after the second week? IR.
Something will happen. Exactly it. But listen, you're paying him anyway. But why take the hit? Put him in the back, and that'll be it. And move on with your franchise with a couple of young guys at quarterback. All looks good on paper. Game Time Decisions continues here on the Grid.
Welcome back to Game Time Decisions here on SportsGrid. Craig Mish along with Joe Raineri here with you until 7 o'clock, and then Kevin and Gabe will take over. They have you from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern. Lots of NFL preseason action and, of course, Major League Baseball as well. And then most importantly, they will get ready for kickoff tomorrow. In fact, I'm back on the air tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. with Kevin as we get ready for college football today. I'll be on the air for 2 hours previewing the first game and many games of the day. TCU takes on North Carolina. That game is in Ireland. And then actually there's a full slate of games. And then the mega games, Joe, they begin next week. In fact, we have college football Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I think there's a Labor Day game too. So we have 5 straight days of college football starting next week, and naturally some pennant races going on as well. Premium games, meaning the games you got to pay extra for tonight. The game's on Apple TV, Boston, New York. It's the first of 4 games in baseball, and Seattle, Toronto. Those are the 2 Apple TV games today. So if you're watching us, want to stream some other stuff, that's the direction that you can go tonight, Joe. But certainly we talked a lot of Browns football here in the NFL preseason. I think there's some other big decisions that are going to be made Sunday. I think we'll be back here on Monday, shocked at some of the decisions that are made, or maybe not shocked is the word, but maybe surprised. I think that's the way that would probably go. And, I was talking to you about a little college football as we get ready for that game tomorrow as well. Do you think like I think, or do you think Belichick is in for the long haul in North Carolina? I don't know. My everything that happened with Lombardi and everything, it seems to me that this is a 1.5 and done for Belichick. I don't even know if he makes it through the year.
Well, I mean, listen, I'll say this. Belichick took over late in the game last year. Let's not forget that. That was, he had already missed the recruiting cycle. What was there was going to be there at that point. He had to settle for Freddie Kitchens as an offensive coordinator. They didn't get any quarterbacks. The quarterback they wanted, they didn't end up signing. He went someplace else. So you have a situation where now this is a full year of Belichick, including recruits. The guys on this team are his. They are guys that had a year's worth of, work under Belichick and his style and what's going on. I mean, Lombardi was an unfortunate situation, but his son also being sick or on medical leave, or I don't know what's going on with that. But Belichick's calling the defense. All indications are he loves the defense. They've got an experienced quarterback here, former Wisconsin player, who beat out a former Texas A&M quarterback. So they're not void of talent. They play in the ACC, and I think it's not like Belichick forgot how to coach. If you think he doesn't know how to coach football players, I am not running to the window backing TCU in Dublin in a situation where the quarterback they've had for the last 3 years left them to go to Indiana. And now they've got a quarterback at best played at Harvard. That's a totally different game. I think a year of Belichick now, a lot of guys back on that defensive side of the ball. They're very young, but I think he's got the guys that he wants there, and I think they're going to be much better than they were a year ago. I think he makes a bowl game. Not that there's many of them left.
Really? Wow.
He's not going to win a national championship, but he plays in the right. If he played in the SEC, it'd be a different story. But he plays in the ACC, and most of those teams are it's like the American League, right? They're garbage anyway. So to win 6 games, I think you have to qualify for a bowl game. Would that not be success for North Carolina this year after the year they had a year ago?
I mean, we're on the opposite sides of this too, obviously. But yeah, I just, yes, that would be a success. I just don't see it happening. Here is, I guess, my bigger question. I do consider myself to be somebody who's very into college football and follows it, but when I see things that, it's not that they don't make sense, but I guess I would counter by saying this, Joe. If North Carolina has a legitimate shot in this game tomorrow, why on earth in a neutral site game are they 8.5-point dogs against TCU? This game is not even at TCU. It's in Ireland. So if the game was in correct. TCU, the line would be 12, right? 11.5, 12. I mean, that tells you that these two teams may not belong on the same field. Now, this could all be wrong tomorrow, and maybe North Carolina keeps it close. I am very concerned. I am very concerned. I just don't think that he is built to coach in college football. I think that he was bitter that he didn't get an NFL job and said, I'm just going to take my ball and go to college. I mean, I'm not part of any conversation to understand. I think, Joe, that Bill Belichick thought he was the coach of the Atlanta Falcons. I think that's what he thought. And then something happened. I don't know if it was really Arthur Blank talking to Kraft or what, but that seemed like the absolute perfect fit for a gig. He didn't get it. And then mysteriously, no other team even considered hiring him. I'm worried about the Tar Heels, man. Yep. I am.
Yep. Unless, of course, they win tomorrow, and then how much worry is there? So I got to give the benefit of the doubt. Game Time Decisions continues.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the conference. It's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
His height, how hard he could throw it, didn't matter. How do you communicate it? How do you look at these guys in the face? An old 10-year vet, right guard over there, and a 9-year tackle that's been. How you gonna look that old man in the face and convince him, hey guys, we're gonna get ready to go down the field. We're gonna score here. Because that's what the great ones do. They walk in the huddle and everybody goes, okay, it's time, let's go.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network as we get you ready here for plenty of Major League Baseball coming up. College football week 0 is in the mix. Of course, that is tomorrow. And then it won't be long before, the NFL is back. Less than 2 weeks away. We've got plenty of preseason football here tonight. Teams still trying to figure depth out, backup quarterback positions. Pittsburgh's planning on keeping 4 quarterbacks possibly. There's still a lot to be decided here, but we're now 26, 27 games left in the Major League Baseball regular season, and the Dodgers find themselves playing their worst month of baseball of the season, heading into this game tonight against the Tigers. And I don't know what. Maybe the Reds listened in to what we've been ripping them on, because they dropped 9 in the 9th against the Giants. And then they dropped a 10 spot today on the Reds, Craig, here. So are the Reds the Reds beating up on the Cubs back-to-back big offensive games? Please tell me I'm dreaming here.
You never know, I guess, what could happen in any individual game. That is for sure. What was the final in that game?
This sport. 10-8. 10-8
today. Wow.
13 hits they pounded out. And they made Rhett Lauder look like a Cy Young Award winner. I don't get. And the Cubs, by the way, historic team offensively, what they're doing. I think they're scoring more runs. They're hitting more home runs. It has been a fantastic MVP capability, or possibility rather, with the Cubs there in Pete Crow Armstrong. The sky is the limit for them, but wow. I mean, they lose some games against teams they have absolutely no business losing against. And I'll tell you this,
Yeah.
I think this Yankees-Red Sox series, it
Yeah.
might be the most under-talked about game that has the most juice. I mean, Yankee Stadium is going to be over the top this weekend, Craig, and it's going to start with Schlittler and Sandoval, advantage Yankees.
Definitely.
But you just saw the Red Sox, and you told me, listen, are they winning the World Series? No, but boy, they can be really annoying to a team like the Yankees.
Yeah, they can. And the other thing that happened in the games with Miami too is that we're going to be back to some degree of those long 4-hour games between these two teams, even with the pitch clock, because the Red Sox are very disciplined at the plate. They're taking pitches constantly. They're fouling off pitches constantly. Rafaela is not one of those. He's up there hacking almost immediately. But just about everybody else in that Boston Red Sox lineup takes pitches, and you know that the Yankees take pitches too. So I don't know that this series is truly an indication as to what a postseason one would look like, especially if Aaron Judge is back and playing with them. But I could see this being a Boston series win. And I also think that the relief pitching of Boston is better than the Yankees too. So I see a lot of close, low-scoring games. Red Sox are not putting up 10 in any game or 8 in any game. I don't think so. But I do think the Red Sox have a chance to win the series. Judge back on the Yankees. I think the Yankees beat Boston in the playoffs. But I think it'll be fun. It should be a fun 4-game series this week. The only game that I would, just say, like, close your eyes and do it would be Peyton Tolley. I really am a believer, Joe. That's the one guy that I would take. Yeah, I don't know when he pitches. I'm going to guess. Let's see. He pitched against Miami on Monday. So that would be, is it one of the games tomorrow? So whichever game he pitches in tomorrow would be the one that I like.
I listen to pretty good litmus test, I think, for both those teams as far as where they are right now, because they all seem to be chasing the Rays anyway, who are going to have their hands full. McClanahan on the mound, taking on the Padres. Casey Mize obviously knows the Rays because, well, he came from Detroit, so he knows them very well. There's some familiarity there, and I like the matchup for him. And listen, the Padres kind of sitting there at a decent price, getting a run and a half on the road. I'm tempted here because McClanahan's had some issues. Certainly some walk issues and some arm issues, but I think the Padres could be the live dog on the board here tonight, Craig. What do you think?
Extremely tough game for me to call. I was looking at that before we started the show. I was thinking that too, and then I saw their road record and their record against teams above 500, and I'm just not so sure. The other thing tonight, there's extra juice in that building tonight, Joe, in St. Pete, knowing they're getting a new park. I don't know that I want to get in front of that. Probably just a pass for me today. I wouldn't be surprised if San Diego won, to your point, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to assume that's a very close game, and it's one of those coin flips that comes right down to the end. I can tell you that if Mason Miller is in the ninth for a save opportunity, he won't be throwing a changeup to Junior Caminero like he threw to O'Neal Cruz. I don't know what that was about. Who called that pitch?
Nope. No idea what was going on there at all. I also have absolutely no idea Hunter Brown is on the mound for the Astros tonight on the road against the Mets. 7.5 is this line. Hunter Brown clearly not the same pitcher. He still has the swing and miss stuff here, Craig, but command has been a problem. When he's on, he's virtually unhittable. But boy, oh boy, if you have enough patience at the plates and the Mets can hold off and not help him, Mets are going to score some runs in this game here tonight. It feels like it's artificially low, and it feels like we could get some runs here, even at Citi Field.
I think so. I think you're onto something there. The Mets seemingly internally feel that if they only lose 7 games the rest of the season and somehow win 22, then they would have a successful finish and finish 500. I don't see that happening. They're only 14 games under. Remember, they were like 22 games under, so they've definitely done a good job since then. You can't sleep on the Mets. Their offense, as you said, is good. They're not getting shut out constantly like they were early on in the season, and they're going to get Juan Soto back, it looks like, maybe next week. What's strange to me is that I guess what's going on, Joe, is these teams across the league, they have it's called Traject machines, TRAJECT, I think, or KT. And these machines basically are in the in the back and near the clubhouse, and they're set up to pitch to the players. It's a machine that basically simulates the exact pitcher who you're going to face against. So there's a video board and the ball comes out and it looks exactly like the pitcher, and then the ball flies out the way that the guy pitches. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because of these new traject machines, the players think they don't have to go out on rehab assignments anymore. And this is going on across the league. Juan Soto basically has been doing this, and he's like, I'm good. Yep. I'm facing everybody via machine, as opposed to why would I want to go to the minors and face guys that aren't even good? I'm facing them when I'm taking BP. Really interesting dynamic as to what's going on. So what am I saying? Juan Soto could be back next week, Joe. Juan Soto could be back. Could be back. He could be back with the Mets without even doing a rehab assignment. And will Aaron Judge do the same? Maybe. I think the new way of baseball is not going on these rehabs anymore.
Yeah, I could very, very well just work your way through it. Apparently, Craig, that seems to be the motto now. No reason, just hurry up, get back, and we'll deal with it here. Unreal. By the way, 14 quick points for the Ravens against the this Washington
well, they win every
team.
Game. Did they win every preseason game again this year? Are they 3-0?
Only given up 10 total points in the preseason. There, 2-0.
There's two.
Yeah.
Why doesn't somebody
in blowout fashion?
And every year we just let it go by. I'm going to guarantee you that Kofsky has not bet the Ravens, or you have not bet the Ravens in the preseason.
I gave them out right here on GameTime Decisions last night.
Good.
I told you, Washington, all the reports is that offense is an unmitigated disaster. And for whatever reason, the Ravens have taken on that Harbaugh and just said, we're just going to keep winning games, and we don't care.
Next year, 3-0 again. 3-0 again next preseason. Well, there may only be one game, one preseason
give up a point tonight. They might not give up a point tonight. 10 the entire preseason.
Who's playing? Who's quarterbacking? Huntley? Snoop?
Snoop, and they have I think is it Joe Flacco's son. I think he's in there as well. Yeah.
Billy Flacco?
Yeah, they're really Joe Flacco's old enough. I think his son is actually playing football here now. No, I'm kidding.
Little Stevie Flacco?
The little Stevie Flacco is going to be in there here tonight, but no, they are going to have a hard time, I think, this season in the AFC North. But preseason, Chigan. Oh yeah, former UConn, Fagnano. Game Time Decisions continues here on the Grid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
His height, how hard he could throw it, didn't matter. How do you communicate it? How do you look at these guys in the face? An old 10-year vet, right guard over there, and a 9-year tackle that's been. How you gonna look that old man in the face and convince him, hey guys, we're gonna get ready to go down the field. We're gonna score here. Because that's what the great ones do. They walk in the huddle and everybody goes, okay, it's time, let's go.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. Colgate on the board over Fordham. I know Craig Mish was looking for that score.
Oh, no.
As a little F. Yeah, I cannot
have
believe. Plenty of time, though.
I took
know.
Fordham.
Marist is up to 7-3 over New Haven. We'll have more on that coming up.
Oh, New Haven, they got no shot.
I know. Yeah, and Rhode Island and Merrimack, too, is very upsetting right now. 7-7 there. But don't sleep. Those are some of the best odds and markets on the board because the public never bets them. So there are some edges to be had there. In the meantime, though, we do have some games coming up here tonight in Major League Baseball that we've got to run down and see if we can't find some edges. What do we do with Seattle taking on Dylan Cease here? You got a feeling? I mean, Cease at home feels like a guy. 7 is the total. He's under $1.50, Craig, and when you get him under $1.50, it feels like he's a guy I should be betting on no matter what or how anemic that Toronto offense might be at home. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that for Cease, the prop I would look to, and I don't know if you could find this one, would be the total going over the total outs that he would record in a game. So, like, I would guess it would be 16.5 or 16, somewhere along those lines for a guy like that. And he seems to be getting deeper and deeper into games as the season has gone on. Look, Seattle is playing better baseball. So I'm not sure that I necessarily want to fade them tonight. But Cease has been good almost every time. But what if the score is 1-1? You're going to find yourself upset. I would say, for me, over total outs on Cease today. And I don't know what that number is, but I'm guessing the highest it would be 16.5.
17.5? 17.5. Yep.
17.5. I'm still going to go over. So what is that 7 innings?
17.5 would be 6 innings. Yeah, he'd have to make it through 6.
Give me 7 innings for Cease today and give me over on that.
Ooh. I like it. Ladder it up here. I like that direction that you're heading in.
That would be mine. Without even looking at the odds, I was a little off there, I will say, on the odds. 16.5 and 17.5 is a big difference.
His strikeout prop feels like that could be in play, too, with Seattle, who does nothing but either, hit home runs or strike out, apparently.
Right.
I would imagine that's not a bad look either for him here tonight. And let's face it, both teams, they're on the outside looking in right now. Both need wins. I think it's going to be an interesting series, but I don't think Hancock is going to be considered the ace of Seattle in any way, shape, or form. I think Toronto should be able to handle that one there. Why is everyone betting the Angels tonight? I've seen nothing but money come in on the Angels. Well, Detmers, let's face it, Detmers is better than Painter.
Joe, the Angels have played okay. They've played all right.
I know.
They've played better.
And they're home.
They've played better.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't either. But the Angels, since those trades, have played better baseball. The young players have played well for them, which is surprising.
And the bullpen has been good. And you don't like Painter, right? We can't agree that Painter's going to.
No, not at all. He's the weak link there. He's not starting any postseason game for them. In fact, I would say this offseason, some team is going to look at him and say we can make him better than what you have, and they'll trade him. I would guess Painter will be on a different team next year. Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, if Dombrowski's still there, he'll gets look. The bottom of the Phillies lineup is not what it was a couple of years ago, as we've talked about. There's no Hoskins, then there's no Castellanos. It's just not the same. They need to bolster the offense in the offseason. They tried. They signed Adolis Garcia. That did not work out. Arias is going to leave them, Joe, at the end of the year. They may have to do it via trade because their payroll's already over $300 million, and who knows? Cap and floor could eliminate any spending for them. So I would say he's a good trade piece for them. So that's another, maybe possibility that I would see.
Listen, I would love to say that an over is in play here, but Detmers has actually been. I'm still shocked he's on this team, but they had an extra year of control, I believe, than we didn't realize. Because I think once Soriano left, I thought he was going to be part of the deadline, but he's not. And to their credit, you can't just stick a fork in that bullpen either. The Angels bullpen's actually pitched pretty well. So Philadelphia might have their hands full here tonight in that one. What are you going to do about Milwaukee? Best record in Major League Baseball. They're at home, taking on a Rangers team that Cody Bradford is going 0-2, but he's pitched better than what obviously the 0-2. He came off the IL during the month here. He's had some decent starts. I mean, Logan Henderson going for Milwaukee. It's just so I don't want to lay $2 with Milwaukee. But it feels like an under spot here, Craig. If anything,
I do.
7.5.
That's what I was going to say. Under first five. Under first five, probably. I mean, Detroit's or Texas's bullpen is still not great, other than Lats. So I think 2-1 after 5 innings, somewhere along those lines. The thing with Texas is they fall in line for me, Joe, as to one of those teams that night by night I have no idea what they're going to do. Like I understand Cincinnati every once in a while is going to score 10 runs, but generally if you fade them, they're going to get shut out twice a week. Texas it feels like they win, they lose, they win, they lose, they win, they lose. Like I have no bead whatsoever and no feel for how they're going to perform on any given night. So it wouldn't surprise me to see that, but Milwaukee is chasing the best record in the history of the franchise at home this season, and they're closing in on it already, So that's another team I don't want to go against, but I think that you just hit what I would do, under first 5.
Yeah, I mean, at 83-51, they've won 8 of their last 11. I think in the last 2 games, they've scored 16 runs. So you're also talking about a Rangers team that's given up 21 runs in its past 2 games, both losses to the White Sox. 66-68. Somebody's got to win that division, right? Somebody's got to win the American League West. And as much as I don't like the Astros, it feels like that's the team that it's going to be that's going to win the American League West. And I hate to admit it.
Probably, but far from over. Far from over. We still have time. I'm not going to rule that out. So I'm going to say that Seattle, even though I don't want them to win, because I think that they've just so far underachieved, it would be something if they just picked it up here in the last week. Houston or Texas for me.
White Sox and Twins, interesting one there. Castillo at it again for the White Sox. Crema is going for the Twins here. This is an interesting matchup, as is the Pirates and Cardinals, believe it or not. I'm not quite sure what to do with either. We'll discuss them, though, as game time decisions. Yeah, it continues here on this Friday on the Grid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the conference. It's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
His height, how hard he could throw it, didn't matter. How do you communicate it? How do you look at these guys in the face? An old 10-year vet, right guard over there, and a 9-year tackle that's been. How you gonna look that old man in the face and convince him, hey guys, we're gonna get ready to go down the field. We're gonna score here. Because that's what the great ones do. They walk in the huddle and everybody goes, okay, it's time, let's go.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Game time decisions here on the Sports Grid Network as we look to close out this edition together. Plenty of Major League Baseball coming up in the game live. Game day will take over from here. We do have a couple of games underway. Greg, looks like Dodgers and Tigers at Comerica. No score there, bottom of the first. Checking in on how your Marlins are doing with the Nats. Do we have anything there?
Nope. Kent went 1-2-3 against Miami in the first inning, so absolutely nothing happening there as well. Ohtani struck out in his first at-bat, but wouldn't you know that the Tigers facing Tariq Skubal, very first pitch off Skubal is, I believe, a Javier Baez double. Second pitch, excuse me. Wow. Javier Baez double. So here we go. Oh, it's Gleyber Torres, excuse me. Gleyber Torres double. And right now, got the Tigers in business against their old buddy.
I love it. Got some opportunities here tonight as well. A little late night action. Listen, Busch Stadium, it's not very conducive for runs, but something tells me runs might be happening here with the Cardinals and Pirates tonight here. Jones going for the Pirates. Matthews going for the Cardinals, the young arm. So could we get some O'Neal Cruz home runs? 7.5 is the line here.
Jared Jones has been a massive disappointment. He only has, I believe, 3 quality starts all season long. This was a potential ace. He definitely is not Brandon Ashcraft, we can say that, but he was so good 2 years ago. He's been a big disappointment. I don't know when Carmen Majinski pitches. You know that's the time to just lay in on the Pirates, Joe, when he pitches. I don't know if he's starting this weekend, but whenever that happens, that's my reminder here. I don't have a strong opinion tonight, but the Cardinals are in a really good spot here, opening up against Pittsburgh. If they can win 2 out of 3 or maybe even sweep, they jump right back into that playoff picture again. Arizona lost somehow last night to the Giants. I was very surprised to see that. I thought the Diamondbacks were going to win that one. They'll play again tonight. They have a 4-game series, by the way, going this weekend in the Bay Area. So, yeah, I'm kind of with you here. I could see some run scoring. And, Pittsburgh's offense has been one of the better ones all season. And, certainly Jones has not been good, too. So I'm with you. Over on that total.
Castillo going for the White Sox here today. Crema going for Minnesota. And this kid, Tristan Peters, is homered in, I think, 5 consecutive games.
Yeah, that was going to be my like right before we went to break, we didn't have time. My prop for that one is Tristan Peters over total bases in that game. You're going to ride that. You're not going to. Now I don't know about a home run, but probably his total bases. I'm going to guess. Is it 1.5? Is that it? Probably, right? It can't be higher than that. Go over Tristan Peters total bases. If he doesn't homer, he'll double. He'll get 2 hits. That would be my play. You're absolutely right.
He's been swinging it great.
Him, Murakami, and Montgomery, all with 5 home run streaks this season. That is incredible. 3 different players.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, there's some names on this list in White Sox history, too, that he is now looking to surpass if he can get another one. Ron Kittle, remember that name? Greg Luzinski, back in the 80s. Yeah, that was all for rookies. That actually
Ron Kittle was rookie of the year, I think.
I know. I think he was.
1983.
Right. Yeah, Frank Thomas. We knew. Yeah, Frank Thomas is not hard to figure, but this would be something else. I hope the kid does it. I really do. I hope he gets one here tonight. Either way, I still think runs are coming in this game. Is that fair as well?
Not as positive because of the Twins end. Not positive on that. So maybe White Sox team total. But when Ron Kittle won the Rookie of the Year in 1983, where was Joe Raineri at that time? Where were you in 1983? What were you doing, Joe? Do you know? Do you remember that far back?
Probably in a Little League game. I think I was probably in a Little League game at that particular point there, man. I think I was fighting to get the Williamsport is what I was doing in 1983. I can tell you that. Might have said that's probably right around that time. He was actually pretty good. Much better than I would have thought, too. I think I still have his baseball card.
Yeah,
I
think Kittle, I had one, too. Kittle, if I want to think about this correctly, had like 2 or 3 fantastic years with the White Sox, like 30-plus home run seasons, and then it was the cliff, off the cliff, and done, right? Maybe went to Cleveland or something, and then that was like the end. That was like the end of his career. But yeah, I remember he like during that like 83, 84 was like Don Mattingly and Kittle and a few of those guys. Like I remember like him being very, very hot at the time. Yes, of course, no one watching or streaming has a clue. No one's streaming because we're all, me and you are old, have a clue about Ron Kittle.
Look up Ron Kittle and Greg Luzinski. Trust me, they don't make players like that anymore. They really don't. That'll do it here. Greg, we'll see you again over the weekend. College football.
Yes,
I think
tomorrow.
so. I think it's 1 hour. We're done. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll be here. Week 0 of the college football season is starting, but in-game live game day. Straight ahead here on the grid. Enjoy the games.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
What Michigan have to play versus Penn State is insane. Like, instead of Big Ten teams worrying about SEC and all that, like, Michigan fans should not be happy about what Matt Campbell gets to walk into. James Franklin's got to be kicking himself. Penn State do not play Oregon, Indiana, or Ohio State. They avoided the entire Big Three of the it's incredible.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
It's kind of cut and dry that the Dodgers are going to win it, which is not a guarantee. This is not taxes and death, so to speak. The Dodgers can lose games. We've seen it. They had a long losing streak. So the Dodgers could maybe fall off. You never know. Now, I do expect them to make the playoffs, and I expect them to win the division, and I expect them to win the NLDS. But then anything after that, I think is suspect.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
His height, how hard he could throw it, didn't matter. How do you communicate it? How do you look at these guys in the face? An old 10-year vet, right guard over there, and a 9-year tackle that's been. How you gonna look that old man in the face and convince him, hey guys, we're gonna get ready to go down the field. We're gonna score here. Because that's what the great ones do. They walk in the huddle and everybody goes, okay, it's time, let's go.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.